welcome to this interesting conversation today, which we are having on a very interesting topic. So, today we are going to talk about how the organizations are accelerating the innovations engine. We have some very good friends who are experts from the innovation side who have joined us today, who are into creating applications, doing deliveries, who are planning innovations, on giving a strong foundation to the innovation.
So this is Jitendra Agarwal. I represent a company which is HDFC Life. I work in the capacity of Executive Vice President, looking after business and service excellence, which is making all the cross-functional projects getting implemented in the company, which includes innovation and changes which are required in the context of creating business impact. And that's where the agenda of innovation comes in. So last 27 years across various industries, be it manufacturing, retail, banking, and now in insurance, this is how the changes to create business impact is what I've been working on.
Fantastic. Welcome, Jitendra. Now, can I request Surajit Roy to kindly introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon to all of you. I am Surajit Roy. I'm the MD and CEO of IDBI Intech. Our parent company is IDBI Bank, where we are 100% subsidiary of IDBI Bank. However, during the first, there's a board resolution being passed where IDBI would like to, retain 51% stake. So we are also on a hunt for a 49% stake for a, strategic investor from that point of view. And our ultimate parent is LIC from that point. So we, nurture when we, service a bank, which is IDBI and a mother of all insurance, LIC, and to the external customers, right? So that's our portfolio where we do global business, India business, especially in the BFSI segment where we are, we are bankers by ourselves and we are very domain centric from an innovation perspective.
Fantastic. So great. Welcome, Surajit Roy. And let us now go to Murtuza. Murtuza, please introduce yourself also.
Hi, myself Murtaza Jadliwala. I work for Unity Bank. I'm here for the last 16 years and take care about the entire software development along with digital payment and the new age project. I'm having 22 years of total experience and with the bank since 2005.
Fantastic. Welcome, Murtuza.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Rajan Chabria. I look after sales, enterprise sales for IBM India South Asia. Overall work X is around 22 years, predominantly in BFSI, more than 15 years that I've been working in this segment. So it's great to be on this panel. And as Babu introduced, acceleration for innovation. I think the times that we are living in currently, I see a lot of avenue for that. A lot of organizations are on that track itself. So we'll have a great conversation. Next 1 hour, I think it will be interesting to hear your views. Back to you, Babu.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Sachin. I lead Data Matter. Data Matter is one of the IBM business partner. We predominantly focus on the DevOps, DevSecOps, and the infrastructure as a code. So I have around 20 plus years experience, and I lead the technology as well as the business because my one leg is in the business side and one is in technology. Because when you talk about technology, there is no sales. You have to understand technology to drive the sales. So typically I play the both roles in my organizations. I'm a founder of the Data Matter, and Babu said that let's set up the tone for today's discussion. So thanks Babu, the Banking Frontier agency. We're discussing today accelerating the innovation engine by keeping DevOps as a holistic and complete. Due to rising demand for time and material, and you talked about the typically resourcing, then speed, then velocity, then IT. All of these are the good adoption of DevOps and CI/CD agility. And now we talk about acceleration for innovation. Most of the clients has done those DevOps and CI/CD things. But what today we talk about, which is not termed as a complete, unless we do not focus on the core enabler, that is IT infrastructure, or to make a term like application environment provisioning. So this is a very important factor today we are going to discuss about on top of your DevOps and CI/CD. It starts right from the physical virtual machine to completely working system like DC, DR, UAT, and DEV.
What are the most important challenges that you face when it comes from idea to innovation to then putting that innovation into an actual product and getting it on the street or getting it onto your bandwagon and then enabling your sales teams to sell it. So what are the steps that are there where you really find a lot of challenge? So, since Jitendra told me is basically from the innovations background, and I have seen Jitendra doing a lot of interesting innovation in RPA in the recent past, I thought let me start off with Jitendra with that question.
Sure. Thanks, Babu, for this opportunity. And I think it's a great question and always haunting us that yes, innovation is exciting, but it is having an associated challenges. Not that all the innovations are successful. So there are, when we talk about innovation, we actually get excited because of the great idea. But it is not a great idea. It is basically a smart solution which is actually required, which is in the context of business. The moment you really translate an idea and connect it with a solution which is required for the business with an end in mind, then you are actually working on the right kind of an idea, or you are right sizing the idea for the organization. So that's the first element of challenge which people really ignore. The second aspect, which is completely lost out, is innovation is a combination of a smart idea or a solution and execution, a flawless, frictionless kind of an execution. Many of those team and an organization really fails to create this execution piece successfully. And as a result of which, the great idea only remains in the boardroom, or it becomes only a PPT kind of thing or a storyboard. So these two components need to be really addressed across multiple stages of an innovation to really take place. So it starts what I call is like a 5S. So it has to start with a scanning of the technologies. So there are many ideas which are available now, many technologies which are available. People are there with different solutions. Now, whether those solutions are fitting into your problem, that's where the scanning comes in. Having got that, then the second S is basically scoping it. Scoping in the context of your business, getting the right kind of stakeholders to really buy in and relate that particular idea, technology appropriate to your business. The moment you have successfully done the second S, then comes the third S. The third S is actually talking about really minutely translating that solution, that idea into a clear solution in its component, which would be really operationalized in terms of. So it's a journey of a desirability converted into a feasibility and a viability kind of a thing. The moment you are successfully done to the third step, which is solutioning, then you get into, since it is a technology-led solution, lot of challenges comes in terms of getting a sign-off from the security point of view, because security and the threats around implementation of that particular change is a completely different dimensions which were earlier not there in innovation domain. And then you really go about the fifth S, which is creating a scale. Now that is the moment you can really cross all these steps successfully in making your planning with end in mind for a scale, for security norms to be really met, making a fine tuning of a solution, getting into the right scoping, and then you are doing that kind of a scan, then your inventory or the engine of innovation is really working one after the other.
Interesting. So you have put all the 5 to 6 questions that I always had in mind, or probably I planned to talk about straight away in your first answer. So you did not give me a scope to actually look into much more answers now.
I'm sorry if I have preempted, but this is how an innovation has to be really looked in end to end.
Absolutely, Nene. I'm just kidding about that. But I think you did a fantastic encapsulation of the entire process of how the Chief Innovation Officer work. Surajit, you have been more from a technology side. You have been more from a background of a technologist like Wipro and then come into the BFSI space, and you are married both of these together, and you now handle dual role. On one side, you service a bank; on the other side, you service an insurance company. From your side, how do you mix and match both this kind of things in when it comes to innovation? What is your perspective?
Yeah, I think Jitendra covered all the five S's, which was very nicely articulated. Jitendra, I must congratulate you for that. But it's a good area where you actually deal with BFSI. You have bank one side and insurance company on the other side. So if you see, what we find as one of the challenge or one of the good things to do is that you need to have a business case on the innovation, especially on the digital, because everything innovation is on the digital front, right? So the speed at which you want the execution to happen, the speed at which you want the customer to accept that business use case. Here, the customer I meant is that the business sponsor has to be there, right? Unless you have the business sponsor completely, hand in glove with you, the execution of that or the effectiveness or the advantage of that innovation is actually not felt, right? So everything what we innovate, we have in mind, 48 hours or 72 hours or maximum 15 days in hand, which you need to look at. So either you do something which somebody has done and how do you differentiate from there, or you do something which, nobody has done, right? And you make a difference to that as an early mover, right? So in that way, we have created some of the things which has increasing our brand perception. Is one area where we have looked into IDBI Bank. If you see, on 1st October was our foundation day, and we launched 5 innovative products for IDBI Bank. Some of them are catching up with the competition, and few of them are trying to move ahead of the curve, right? So some of them, like account opening in 3 minutes or 2 minutes, right? What you have using Aadhaar and biometric from a point of view. So in 7 days we got around more than 5,000 customers. That's the speed at which the account opening is happening from there. While this was done 4 years back by IDFC and other people when I was in the Wipro side of it, right? So we're just trying to catch up there. So that's a brand perception. We are trying to bring it there. We also started WhatsApp banking, which is a thing which everybody has started, but we are not going to create something new which nobody has done it. So as I said, this innovation is something where the business guy has to buy in your concept, and the speed has to be very fast for you to execute it. And the marketing time for the bank to make use of it is also has to be very less from that point of view. And similar is for the LIC, right? We are doing much more things from LIC, which globally the solutions don't exist in some of the, because they have the legacy, software technologies which are there. You're trying to marry those technology with the new age technology. So obviously you need to create a lot of drivers between those adapters to be, built in from a marrying the technology, what they have, and the new gen technology, what you need to bring in. So those things are going on, and this is a good ground for us because once we do it for bank and LIC, it's a replicable for other customers across the globe. So that's a good part of it from that point of view. The key is the business guy has to buy it.
Ultimately, if there are no takers for all these innovations and all the technology, everything is futile. So that's basic foundation on which it works. So foundation is a great word to start off with. Sachin, you have been speaking about foundation and fundamentals and all that. So when it comes to these kind of innovations and when people are talking about a lot of constraints, let us go from the roots. So what are the foundations on which these innovations has to be based on, Sachin, according to you?
Okay, yeah. So I think I would like to compliment Jitendra. He nicely talks about the 5 years, and I just want to take that 5 years in my conversations. I think maybe I'm just recollecting those things. First is scanning, the scoping, solutioning, security, and scaling. So look at that. The technology company, the transformation technology company, what we do, like scanning, we do the assessment. We call it for us, it's assessment. Like scanning is assessment. Then you talk about scoping, the scope of that particular solutioning, and minor level, get that scope converting into the architecture side. So your solution should be that way architecture, which solve your problems. Then you follow the security, and definitely it has to be robust and scalable. That's the thing. So 5 years, when you talk about this foundation of entire the infrastructure or DevOps landscape is talk about this 5S. Now, as a technology company, so they talk about 5S for the client perspective, right? Because they want to achieve those things. But now, a technology company, I would say, what we want to deliver it to the client, the 3S. I just collected 3S right now based on this 5S. Speed, what are we going to achieve? If we follow those scanning, scoping, solutioning, security, and scaling, we have to deliver a speed to our client, the strength, and the stability. This three is very important. So when you do the digital transformation for your customers, we typically focus on the speed, strength, and stability. One of the customer I have faced that we lose scanning and scoping part. There we realize a lot of challenges come in the solutioning. So he has rightly said this 5S is nicely discussed, but when you comes on the actual implementation, it's very difficult to achieve those 5S. So the foundation is that like how we are going to achieve the 5S with the collaborations. That's very important.
Murtuza, you have been anyways into the area of software delivery and things like that. How have you been seeing, deployment of technology getting faster? How do you reduce the market time to these deployments?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I think my colleague has covered all the points of innovation, the process of it, and all. Now, the three things which I feel, which where technology or which where the delivery comes in the picture is, time to market. Like so in earlier days, right, when a bank is launching a product, there has to be some planning, right, and then we agree on some date that this will be a launching date. But nowadays it's changed. The idea comes with the launching date itself, and then we have to work reverse. That's becomes time to market. Plus, the idea may or may not the innovation may or may not consist of single system. It may be multiple system involved, multiple process is involved, and all right. So time to market with dynamic environments, multiple systems, and you have to make sure that connect to every system in a seamless manner, and achieving the time to market is bit challenging. And how we work is have I always do a trade off, right? Because we cannot make the entire idea in a short span of time. So there will be a MVP, then the add-on, and all. So it's a trade-off between time, the scope, and security. So what we do is we always divide the entire journey into smaller journeys, so we achieve it faster. If you want to, so if you go wrong, we go wrong fast. We again learn from it and deliver it again.
I mean, the whole world today, I mean, I was hearing this statement somewhere that nowadays when we go to pray, right, even if we are going to pray for patience, we want it to be granted immediately. I mean, look at the whole scenario. Instant gratification has become so much of our times that, I mean, everything is today now, right? So as Murtuza said, and Jitendra captured the whole process of 5S very succinctly. Surajit mentioned about innovation, the entire foundation which Sachin spoke about, right? Now, to make all of this happen, right, there is the technology behind it, right? How do you really achieve the shortest time to market for your minimal value product to be released to the market, and obviously entire thing enveloped in a security environment, right? Because we are all operating in a regulated environment where we deal with money. So definitely it has to be taken care of, right? So as Murtuza mentioned, it's not just DevOps, it is DevSecOps, right? So it's all about building the code, testing it, deploying it, monitoring it, and again going back and building it, right? So the entire process has to be managed in a fashion that you are able to achieve the fastest time to market, and at the same time with all the security postures that the organization demands. Now, DevSecOps is pretty much, I think, being used by a lot of organizations, but the whole foundation and I think the whole perspective of going digital, in my mind, is just a starting point for all organizations, right? Finally, where the organizations want to go, is to be a cognitive organization where you are able to get the insights, make those decisions on the fly, which are meaningful for your clients and at the same time valuable for the organization, right? So to make this entire thing possible, you need to have a foundation. The entire infrastructure and the applications need to be provisioned in sync with your plans, which are to achieve a particular business outcome, right? So the entire automation that gets delivered to make this entire foundation strong is what and where we, myself from IBM and partners like Data Matter, work with clients like you, right? So the whole perspective has actually shifted to saying not just the application, the entire process of DevSecOps, right, but also the underlying environment, right, on which you provision these applications have to be in step with your entire plan, right? And we see that in the organization, we all operate in silos, right? There is a team which does the planning, there's a team which does operations, there's a sysadmin team, there's a technology operations team, right? Everybody has their own charter, but all of them need to come in particular sync to be able to manage the end goal and the business objectives which we want to deliver to our clients in step with the objectives of our business, right? So to make all this possible, actually the automation has now gone to a stage where not just the application but also the underlying environment, right, also is automated and made provisioned in real time, right? So something which used to take maybe months today has got, with virtualization technologies, got shrunk to minutes. Then came in containerization, it has gone shrunk to seconds. Then we are talking about something like serverless, which is real time. We don't even need to provision it. It gets provisioned automatically depending upon your demands. So the whole automation has really gone to a level where you decide your business outcomes, you decide the minimal viable product that you want to release, and the entire thing is orchestrated the backend to make this possible. And that's where I think the whole magic, the entire tick, tick, tick that you spoke about, Babu, is the magic behind all this.
Yeah, you have to really look at making things tick, irrespective of wherever there is money, it has to tick first. Only then the
Yes,
money comes in.
absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
is a great perspective, Rajan, and I think let's move a little more further. Now, some of you are from the tech, and many there are also the businesses which are driving these technologies. So when we have a mix of both these businesses and technologies, and both the leaders from this to who are working together, who are on these technologies to catalyze these business outcome, data, technology, and processes uh, have to be very closely intermingled with each other, though they are two different processes. So maybe DevOps or things like that are going to be one of the most important things that would bring everything together. But has this intermingling made things more difficult or made things more competitive and faster and more comfortable for innovators like you to position your innovations into the orbit? What is your thought, Jitendra? Would you like to take this one?
Yeah. So actually, I want to give a anecdotal in the context of a little bigger story. Say, I used to have two friends with me. One friend named Lean, another is called Six Sigma. And these were the two very faithful, commonsensical uh, uh, combination of left and right brain set of people who were helping me solve some of my business problems. And I was very happy with these two friends all these years, because large part of the business problems were getting solved with them, and it was giving the desired business results. It was bringing the desired change in the organization called business excellence. Now, apart from these two friends which are really required, I have now got friendship with three more friends now. Now these three friends are actually three idiots. These three idiots are actually very smart. They are agile. They are thinking innovative. They are bringing in a disruptive changes and a radical improvement to whatever I am actually looking into. So in terms of when I am looking for a change of a breakthrough nature, I seek their perspective, their help in creating the kind of a change. And these three friends are actually named called your AI, analytics, and all those set of other things which could be a IoT, blockchain, and many more new capabilities. And they have their own network of friends which are actually available with us to really help and create a right kind of a fusion for business change and impact, which is really required. So that's the kind of a friendship and a network which is really creating a business value.
Interesting. So, Jitendra, you are actually in a wrong profession. You should have been in a profession of story writing.
I take this as a compliment, and maybe that is something which will happen.
No, that is exactly the way, the moment you can craft some lovely stories like this, that is the way that you can straight away enter into the heart of the people who are listening to you. So, you are three idiots, and both these stories are very, 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 very well taken. And as a chief IT officer, I'm sure that this challenge of marrying IT and business is going to be always the challenge for everyone, because the IT guy, the business guy wants every solution as of yesterday, and the IT guy has his own challenges now. This technology versus that technology versus the cost of this technology versus security of this technology. Murtuza, what is your take as a delivery guy? If you can come a little more closer, we can probably hear you a little better.
Yes,
So,
so,
if you can share some perspective, Murtuza.
yeah, so I always believe, I always seen that all three things, data, technology, and the processes has to go hand in hand. My system cannot be a work in silo where it's not met a process or where it not have the proper data inside it, right? So I always believe that it's not a challenge, or it's not the mingling all these things is not a challenge. It's a requirement. Whether it will take some more time or not, but it has to be there when you design a system, and when you deliver the system, it has to be there, right? How how to means how to design it, right? For which kind of technology you want to use it. It's all depend upon you, and it's all depend upon the time you available and the cost you are working with. Sometimes because of cost, you go with some technology, but you try to achieve what the business goals are. So it's a mixture of that, and it never be a challenge or easy or difficult. It has to be there. All three has to be there to achieve a working system which manage business expectation and innovation.
Interesting. Interesting. Surjit, you have been a techie guy, and now you have, probably shifted the sides to get more into the, a banker side, or probably B plus I, banker plus insurance side. So, from that perspective, what is the difference you see when you look now from a new angle? So, you are now looking from a 21st floor of a 50 of a 30 floor building. So, what is your perspective there?
Uh, it's an interesting question. So the challenges are always there. Nothing is sweeter if you don't have a challenge and you don't solve it. It becomes more sweeter when you solve a challenge, and all of us enjoy collectively. Now, what I meant here is that business is always in a hurry, as of yesterday, right? So you ought to give them what is a short term, medium term, and a long term kind of a thing, and also tell them what is the outcome you're going to get at what time frame. As long as you're able to stick to that time frame, right, what you have promised to them, because innovations, technology are all of boardroom discussions now, so they are not outside the boardroom. So these are integral part of the business disruption growth people are looking forward for. So as long as you're able to give a strict timeline and you're adhering to that timeline, I think a lot of things get easier. But adhering to the timeline is a Herculean job, because you have to collectively click lot of small blocks together to ensure those outcomes are done in that minimum time frame. So your judgment of delivering at what time frame is very important from the experience and outcome you're expecting the business guy to look for you. So if you're able to deliver that, I think you are there in the place. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes some things are beyond your control, and you sometimes have a challenging time during that time. And as long as you make the business guy a part of your problem or a part of the solution which you're doing it, I think it sails through. So the success lies in making him part of your work, what you're delivering, so that he contributes as well as understands what you're trying to do. I think that's the way you look at it.
Sachin, you have been working in DevOps. You are drowned in the DevOps world for quite some time now. How have you been working with, forget DevOps, but let us look at it as more of a business strategy perspective. If a client is coming of the opinion that, hey, I want to make sure that both my business and technology teams are both kept handy and both kept happy, and I want to accelerate this innovation to the immediately to the next level. How do you think these things can be positioned faster?
Good, Babu. I think this is the I can take it the real challenge, and I can have an example for that. We have been a part of that journey. One of the large telecom company, when I was talking to their business people, because when you reach out to client, the first of all is DevOps and all those things are the board member discussion, and now the technology process is the board discussion. Now, when we talk about that, the real challenge I come, the business team talks about something A, and technology guys are something talk about B. At the client place, it happens, and then now Surjit said that let's the business team or business people to be part of your technology, and then you part of your problem statement, so that your solution will be more effective. Similarly, we make ourselves as a bridge. I have seen that, and that's the first thing I have done an assessment. When you say that's the scoping and then typically scanning, is very important, because scan is the, I would say, the first impression, a trigger point for your success story. If you are doing really scanning, we look at our scanner. If your scanner is very clear, you get a good picture. So similarly, assessment of your customer's environment. You talk about processes. You talk about your business people expectations, then your technology people expectations, because there are tools and technology available in the market. See, now it's very easy for us. There are tools, there are technology, there are many companies, product companies available in the market who provides the solution. The problem is, what is the problems and how we are going to fitting that particular solution in that particular problem. The important is right fitment and then your right time. And then now Surjit said that the time factor. You decided, okay, this is going to be achieved in 3 months. The most of the customer I have seen that initially in 2015-16, when I was talking about DevOps, the fails because they went with the big bang approach, like DevOps, that they want to drive the digital transformation, because the CIO, CTO, typical executive said that, hey guys, look, we have to do the digital transformation. Then what happened? They collected all the tools, technology, the people, and they taken this as a project. So what happened? The project miserably failed because the expectation of something different, and then the achievement as was happened different. So that's the reason when we realize we have to break down this component. Let's have a small part of the project, make a success at the customer place. Do the good scanning, do the good scoping, make success out of it, deliver it to the customer, and then go for the next one. If that approach we follow, I think then client and a partner like us and the IBM can really achieve the success at the each station.
Excellent. So that is fantastic. When you bring both these things or all these aspects together, as a technology, Rajan, you have been in and out of technology. Especially, you have a lot of what you call as intermediary technologies which help you to or put these innovations into orbit. How do you think you have been working on this area?
No, I think, see, we all do understand that innovation is definitely which every business is trying to achieve, right? Because come to think of it, you can't invent something new every day or every year or even in every 10 years, right? It's very difficult to invent something new. So if you really want to beat your competition and you can't really make things different, or at least something new, you need to create a differentiation to which you will go to the market and attract your clients, right? So it's all about being nimble-footed, bringing in the innovation to make that value proposition stronger to your clients, right? And hence make yourself differentiated from your competition, right? Now, the way I see things is, while we can all talk about digital transformation and words definitely inspired. It's the actions which actually deliver that change, right? So as we all analysts have been saying, right, it's finally to get the things done on the ground to make that orchestration possible across various business units within the organization to sign up for a common goal and go after that as a project and achieving it, right? So I think it's all about getting this orchestration right and in a time to value perspective that you are able to bring out your product at a speed where your competitor is not able to match that, right? So I think the whole perspective is about getting that speed, getting the agility in the organization to make these changes possible, right? And as we all understand, there's an application that needs to get planned, built, deployed, tested, again going through the entire cycle. And then there is the environment below it. The entire application resides on an infrastructure, right? So if there is infrastructure, there are dependencies. All of that needs to be managed and married for you to able to achieve the entire delivery of the kind of business value to your clients. So achieving all this is itself, everything is not manual. There are options who are doing it manually. Some of them are doing manual and automated. It's a hybrid, and some are now trying to reach is getting automated. So it's not just about taking the first step of being digital, but it's actually about the entire process automation, RPA as we call it, and the intelligence, infusion of intelligence within the entire process, various tools, right? That will acquire a cognitive layer, which actually allows organizations to get the insights real time and take those business decisions which are valuable to your clients and also for the organization that you work for. Bringing all that intelligence and that entire layer of agility together and then taking the value proposition to your clients is where the whole action is. And that's what I said. I think it's all about the actions which we are all taking within our own business spheres, which will deliver the change. And that's where we are collaborating.
So let's ask Surajit, when there are tweaks in the products, how do you look at getting in these tweaks done a little more beautifully or a little more faster, and at the same time make it useful for the entire ecosystem?
Yeah. So, there are a couple of pointers here, Babu, in this, when you have innovated a product which is your own source code, okay, then it becomes a little easier for you to make those tweaks, right? Because the entire control and you're not dependent on any third party or any collaborative, while we all want to do collaborations, but if you have done that on your own, and which, if you see, we have around 25 products which we created on our own for the bank, and we are creating another 10 for the LIC right now, which is getting replicated globally for other customers because it's replicable programs. So those things becomes a little easier. But when you collaborate, like in video KYC, right, kind of an activity, right, where, we didn't want to make that because there are early movers who have already done that job, right? We collaborated and we integrated using API technologies to integrate the systems, what needs to be there, the workflows to be done, right? So similarly, in that kind of a thing, I think the collaborator and the guy who has done it and the expectation of the business, right, what he needs to get it, I think that becomes a little challenging at times because, meeting all the three expectations, coming to the same room and trying to, do a prototype to see how things move up on a step-by-step basis. That's more important because nothing works on PPTs and all that anymore in today's world, right? So you need to do some prototype, show him some UAT changes and the speed as you move to the, agile, DevOps kind of an activity, which, people talked about, and that's the way to move on. You do that, deploy that DevOps methodology. I think that makes it a little easier, but it's not very easy. It's a difficult, it's a challenging activity because the more the number of players, the more the iterations, more the combinations come in, and the time also slips as you what you expected and what the environment is and what the outcome you are expecting, that slips. But obviously, with DevOps coming into the picture, from the traditional way of developing it, it brings more kind of agility to the program. That's what I can tell you right now. That's what we are doing. So we try to minimize the collaboration, but obviously without collaboration, you cannot work. You can't create everything on your own. So obviously you try to see whoever has maximum, like 50% or 60% of it, and just try to have a hand to him to do that, so that you cover 30 and he covers 70 or vice versa.
Fantastic. So without collaboration, there is no organization.
Absolutely.
So that is the mantra of the day, any which ways. So Jitendra, you have done innumerable number of innovations, and I am sure you are also working on at least 5 such projects even today as we speak. So from your side, how do you do this? It is like a aircraft which is flying, and in the air you see that there is some snag. So how do you rectify this snag there?
Uh, First and foremost, I think structurally an organization is designed vertically. And the whole of the innovation or the changes or customer delivery is taking place horizontally. And that's where the intersection point is a cancer node. An innovator actually identifies this cancer node very early, and that cancer need to be cured in terms of stakeholder management. The moment you do that, you will actually solve large part of the problem. The scope creep is always there in any project. That's where the waterfall technology or a approach of SDC is not something which is a real. People are talking about agile methods, and that's where DevOps come in picture. But PMI research suggests that 60% of our projects actually do not see the light of the tunnel, not because of the methodologies or the processes, but because of the people and people politics. And if we really understand this, that who are those people who are bringing in or are involved in this entire change and how to really manage them. Because we are focusing only on technology, we are focusing on data, we are focusing on processes, but we are not actually focusing on people. But innovation is actually not a tripod. It is actually the four component platform. And that plane has to be managed with these four players, where people plays a very important dimension. And if we can synergize people, any scope creep or any surprises which are coming out, that will be managed automatically without actually getting reported. So some of those ticks and the clicks are actually going to take place because at the heart of it, people believe that this is what we need to be really bringing in. And we need to be really bringing in that synergy, and that's a factor of collaboration in the project, whether there is the buy-in of the relevant stakeholders which have taken place. That's the way I responded. Rest all the other aspects of a process issues, changes coming out are something which are always going to be there, but that can be taken care of it if the right set of people are there.
Yeah, so synergy amongst the people is something that is the mool mantra of the problem.
Absolutely.
Correct. So that's a very valid point, because ultimately it is people who drive this entire thing, and that is probably even where we are talking about synchronizing the entire thing, people and technology put together and making things. Murtuza, do you have any other perspective to share?
Yeah, so I agree with Surajit. What he said is right. When you are doing innovation, and where the tweak or changes are constant, which will keep coming from the business side, from the operation side, and even from the regulator side. Because I have done so many projects, and I've seen in the in UPI and all, changes are coming, and it's all you have to do it immediately because it's a concern, security concern, or maybe some change in some regulator, or maybe business is not happy, or maybe they have failed to see the endpoint, and now they want to change immediately. So the key to it is the brain behind this innovation has to be with you, has to be in house, and the hands may be a mixture of maybe in house, outsourced, but you have to have your in house people strong who understand your system of record, and they can do this tweak on a faster pace with all the required tool has to be there, of course, but then the people who knows the system, who knows what to change, and the system has to be designed in such a way that it breaks all the processes. So you only touch the processes which require to be changed and not the entire system. So I agree with that. And that's why I think we also having we are a bank. We who do lots of things in house because the innovation has to be done in house, else you are dependent, you are dependent on the partner and vendors and all.
So basically, your from what I get from your perspective is keep the controls in your hand. So that control is basically the perspective from which you can actually control the branch. I mean, you can the trunk is your hand, the root is in your hand, and the branches can perform whatever they want. Great,
Yeah.
great perspective. And Rajan and Sachin, between you two, you have any other perspectives to add into this?
So I can relate this to one of my real-time example again. When Richendra talks about the team, so I've been the Scrum Master, and it's not good story, but I just talk about I was leading 3 different agile projects, and 2 projects was miserably failed because of the team. Rightly said, agile process or any process is written in the book. It's very nicely written. You can follow the Scrum practice and all these things, but you need a right set of people, right mindset in the team to drive the success or the particular achievement. Now I'll tell you one story. One of the customer, what we talk about is assessment, right? That is scanning. We typically, and typically this is my suggestion also, we don't provide this Excel sheet. Now, how you're going to do your requirement management, how you're going to do the coding, software configuration management, the test management, then your deployment automation. It's very easy for the client like you guys, like banking, insurance. You fill up that form. Everybody talks about, oh, okay, this is nicely happening at my end. You ask network engineer. He said, oh, I think I'm taking daytime to set up my network configuration. How many days or how many hours you take for sending IP pool? He said, okay, this is my process. I'm doing it fine. Then you talk about virtualization, particular team. How many days or how much time you take to create virtual machines because you know to create an environment. He said, yes, this is my process, and I can create it in maybe in a daytime. My boss is there, and the approval system is already there. But when you talk actually to the people at the tea party or something, when you sit with the individual resource like network engineer, system engineer, operation head, test engineer, you come up with a lot of real-time challenges. He said, yes, I set up the IP pool, but the firewall port has been missing because firewall team has given some different port and it was not recorded in the system. He dropped the email. This is typically scenario happen at the real scenario. I have seen it. Now, good part to say that most of the organization in the banking, the software is outsourced to the third party. Here in Indian banking, around 80-90% is outsourced, and we have in-house team of like 10 to 20%, in-house team. Now what happened? You're not bothered about your outsourced part because you have a contract defined. You know that this is going to be delivered by third-party agency on that particular time. You're rest assured. The question is, delivery happen at your side. Now, what is at your side? Your IoT environment, your deployment of that particular solution, and the patches, fix. How you're going to make that faster changes at your environment? You have a control, you have team. Use the right setup tool, you do the right assessment, and figure out the right technology. This is always my suggestion to the customers that you do the right assessment with the people and get the first good team of the people who are really innovator, really flexible to change. The most difficult thing in the world is change. We don't want to change, So you have to have a first people, a set of people who are really aggressive or adaptable to change. Once that change happen in that the particular team, that makes the success story, and that success story drives other success in the customer place. That's it.
Fantastic. So this is one important perspective, but let me just take you to the other perspective. When you bring in any kind of innovation, on one side is the business pressure to accelerate it and put it to the orbit immediately. So they want the Chandrayaan to start circulating around the moon immediately. On the other hand, you have this technical snags and compliance on the other hand, which says that, hey, hold on, have you done the check of this? Have you done the check of that? And as a technology, as a financial organization, you are not able to compromise with an iota of compliance related issues. And I'm sure no IRDA, no RBI, or no SEBI will allow us to do any kind of compromise on that. So when you are working on such a side of the project and you as an innovations head or the technology head are sandwiched in between both these compliance and business. So how do you manage to make sure that you keep both the bosses happy at the same time you go into your role? Would you like to share some perspective of this, Jitendra?
So yes, there is a sandwich. It is a sandwich which is not necessarily very enjoyable, and you are really in a fix. But security takes a precedence, and we need to be really provisioning it, planning it out, and it calls for maybe an early engagement rather than after everything has been done and then you reach out to them, and obviously then they will be surprising you with many other things in terms of a terminology or in terms of a processes which you are possibly alien to. So what I have learned is basically the first person to whom I will be enrolling and sharing my idea would be a security person and a procurement person, because any of those dependencies either on the two sides could be really identified, and I can put them in my design consideration in terms of my execution and implementation plan. Uh, then comes in some of those aspects which could be a trade-off basis their enrollment to the big picture. One is that there is an official answer which comes onto the table. Another is basically their solution hat when they wear. They actually provide you a solution rather than a bottleneck. And that happens only through a chemistry and the people dimension, which I spoke about it. So I think that's the only way to go about it. There is no science to it. It is more to do with a art and a science combined together in the team to really make that mobilization of any project to be really proceeding to from one step tick to the next step.
So sometimes you have to leave the science aside and put psychology into practice.
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Surjit, any perspectives from you in this area on compliance versus business, battle of compliance versus business?
See, compliance is superseding everything, right? In our BFSI parlor or any parlor from that matter, right? No matter what innovation you do, I think there are a couple of points which are important, for us is that while technology is there, everything is around you, what you can do, what business outcomes you can do. But as our colleagues have rightly said, that if you don't have a proper relationship, right, to work, because after all, it's people who do it, right? So whether you integrate an AI technology into a blockchain or you integrate any other technology, integration of technologies, there is always a human element attached to it. So unless and until you have the relationship strike chord with them, because whenever you give a outcome estimate to your business, you have to take this into account, and that can only happen at a chemistry level or a relationship level with your sec app, we call it security app guy, right? The security guy who needs to clear this before it goes to the business, right? So I think bringing him early in the game and making him a part of our solution, what we are deriving. Sometimes he gives solutions, sometimes you have to work the way he wants you to work it, but you have to create a buffer in coordination with him and then give the outcome to the business. It's not easy all the time, but it's challenging, but that's the way you have to live because compliance supersedes everything.
So every pudding has to have its own recipe.
Yes.
A single recipe for every kind of.
Yes, you cannot.
Correct. Wonderful.
And the correct mix of the recipe.
Absolutely. Because if you add more salt, that is also a problem.
Absolutely.
There is also a problem.
Yes.
Great. Murtuza, any different perspective from you other than these two that Jitendra and Surajit have said?
So I agree with both of Jitendra and Surajit that CISO security person has to be part and has to be review in every phase of development, from the planning, designing, from the very code when you deploy and when you go for a final approval. In entire cycle, CISO has to be there and he has to give his review. He cannot say at the last moment that no, you have not done the first phase properly. Now please repeat the whole process. That should not be there, and we are not doing that. We consult CISO during the design phase, later on during development, and then the final gatekeeper approval. That way we manage both, and business also knows that nowadays CISO approval is must to launch any product. So they are also aware and they also help technology to achieve the security concern, security goals, also along with the business goals.
Fantastic. Rajan, you have uh, been seeing a lot of innovations and products and all being launched as a one of the largest systems integrator in the this thing. How have you seen? What are the examples or what are the technologies or solutions which can help to make sure that there is no compromise on either of these sides, and at the same time you keep all the stakeholders equally happy, and at the same time also accelerate this innovation engine faster.
So, Babu, I think every panelist has said it, right? And as Murtaza explained it at the very start of the conversation, right? It's not DevOps in isolation and security in isolation. It's DevSecOps, right? The whole world has evolved, and it's not just true for a financial organization today. It's true for any business organization, right? For you to be able to do your business and grow your business, it has to be done on the foundation of ethics and integrity. That's something which is not possible for anyone to compromise upon, right? So whether there be an IRDA or a SEBI or an RBI guideline, or there may not be a guideline, it is your own, what you say, checks and balances within the organization, which each and every organization builds, right, and makes it that much more stronger, so that each and every business and each and every transaction which goes through the organization goes through the layer of authentication and integrity which the organization signs up for, and each and every employee that works in the organization signs up to that uh, business control guidelines, and that's where the whole fabric works together. So you are not constantly at what do you say, war with the security guy to make sure that he gives you an approval to go ahead. It is also in our own interest that when he gives you a go ahead with a particular project or with a particular minimum viable product that you're launching, right? It is secure, because we have so many examples in the market. We have a Yono, we have an 811, right? We have a DigiBank. These were all innovative examples of something of a new value which was created, right, in the market. And obviously, there were pressures in terms of trying to launch this early in the market, right? But at the same time, they were done with a lot of due diligence and compliance, which were not compromised. And that is the cornerstone, because if tomorrow you launch something in a hurry and it really bombs, it not only bombs the value you were trying to launch, but the entire organization with it, right, has an impact. So I think the whether you are an insurance, whether you are a bank, whether you are a retail organization or any organization, right, or even if I am an individual, right, I'm my own brand, for example. Right? If I don't do things with the proper ethics and integrity, I will not get the next opportunity, and that's what has to be something which has to be within the domains of each and everything that you are going to market with. So, given all of this, the entire automation that we spoke about allows us to bring this change, innovate at speed, reduce the time to market, bring in the synergies, get the teams aligned to a common goal and a purpose. That's what Jitendra emphasized upon. It's not just the technology, but it's also about bringing the teams together, bringing in the agility of the process in mind. And achieving all this is what signing up for the entire business objective, which is to deliver value to the market and deliver it at speed, but without compromising on security. If we are all in tune with this aspect, I think you have this synergy of a good business.
You have not
That's
left.
what we've seen with.
You have not left anything for me to encapsulate now.
Yeah, I think.
You have said
Thank you.
everything that is required to be said. Great. But there is one thing that we have all not touched upon. So, one thing that is unique to all of us is our own experience. Okay. And Jitendra will have a separate one, Murtuza will have a separate one, and Surjit will have a separate one. So, before we end, I just wanted to you to cherish one of those experiences in your life, in your innovations life, where you think that you have really had a fantastic accelerated deployment of your innovation without any major hassles, and it has really clicked for you in life. So what is that one thing that you would like to say, Jitendra?
So when I actually moved on to a larger space of digitization through RPA, robotic solution, I've been always talking about process and processes embedded with a lot of NVAs, non-value adding activities into it. And always a research shows that 5% of the activities in a particular process are only value adding, remaining 95% are non-value. How to really kill those? There were only tactical solutions, and to that extent, the two friends earlier, Six Sigma and Lean, were giving only maybe 20%, 30% kind of an yield on that. Remaining NVAs we were still living with, and they were becoming a part and parcel of delivery to the customer. Because it is a statutory requirement, or it is something which is the limitation of that time. So when I started with digitization as an RPA solution, technology really clicked in terms of a scanning. Scope was well within my span, because I am the process person looking after it. We re-engineered the process, and we really said that if there is a process which is like a typical, the first project of mine, which was a 72-step payout process, we re-engineered it, and we found that it is only 18-step processes which is really required to be managed. And in that 18 steps, how many steps can be really done with a digital touch? And a typical process which is taking a 2 days of an effort in terms of a TAT delivery can be done in actually classically 4 seconds.
Wow.
Now that 4 second was then converted into the business rules, and we are delivering a transactions with a same day delivery for that entire batch. So a typical process which was operating in a 8-day kind of a TAT is now made to same day delivery. Change management following the same processes were done, and it was a great story. And from there only I learned what are the impediments which can come in from the security point of view, from the procurement angles, from all those aspects of stakeholders, and then enroll them as either a sponsor or as a mentor or as a key core team members. And these people really contributed in terms of supporting and making the first success stories. And as I speak, we are one of the largest bot creator. 250 bots are really working across the fabric of business. 28 functions are using our bot capability, and more than 1 million transactions are being delivered on a daily basis. So that's the kind of a teamwork, adoption of new technology, and maybe a combination of methodology and approach blend together has actually worked for us.
So
The rest
like
is the history.
so like how Abdul Kalam was known as the missile man of India, you would be known as the bot man of HDFC Life.
Yeah, that's how people relate with. Yes, you are right.
Interesting. Any interesting challenge that you are facing, especially these days when you are trying to fast track any innovation, any specific area like
So
this?
now what has happened, we started our bot journey with a desktop. Now the requirement is moved from desktop to a cloud. And within cloud, there are spots and other things. So there are new emerging things which are taking place more from the cost efficiency point of view and further scalability perspective. Now, those are the domain which are actually very alien to me, frankly. I am more from the business side of it, not the technology part of it. Now, that's where there is an ask and a demand. At the same time, they are the people who are possibly the people who need to be fulfilling those requirements. So I need to be really helping them solve their own problems and challenges they will be imposing by really rationalizing it. That's the kind of a phase on which I am really working on.
Interesting, interesting. And as I always keep giving an example to my team also. You don't essentially need to be a banker to work with a banker.
Absolutely.
So, like that is the same way you are. You don't need to be essentially a technologist to work innovation out of technology. You
Absolutely.
can always use your domain,
Yeah,
and the rest of the technologist friends will always support you there. Great,
absolutely.
excellent. Anything interesting, Surjit, from your side? One is achievement, and the other is any interesting area that you are working on, which you are looking at engaging. You are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I think when you do the first innovation, right, in the industry and you try to execute it the way you thought of it, maybe you had not completely thought of it, like an account opening in 3 minutes, right? I was a part of that when I was the BFSI vertical head of Wipro. We did it for IDFC, which is a commercial bank, in line with HDFC, where HDFC could not do it, that time. And there's a small finance bank called Ujjivan in Bangalore, right? Where we did 3 minutes account opening, fourth minute the transaction was happening, right? That was one of the things where I really kicked in terms of making sure that Wipro is known for more infrastructure kind of an area, but we wanted to showcase that we can do innovations in the banking space from a business case point of view. I think that was the first thing. Was one of the best thing I ever experienced it, as was my first success, which happened with Wipro during those days. We also did with Paytm. By the way, we did the Paytm payment bank from Wipro from that point of view. So that account opening was one of the key stars, which I brought into IDBI now. In 1st October, we did the same thing, account opening in 3 minutes. So that was one of the best things I enjoyed. And I still have in my memory when you have the first success in the industry being done first time. So that is one which is memorable to me. I think there are many things which we are doing right now. And WhatsApp is in an area where we want to see that how we are different from ICICI Bank, right? What ICICI never did or any other bank never did in WhatsApp is what we're going to introduce very shortly. Wait for some more time. You will see a lot of new things coming up from IDBI Bank on WhatsApp. And those will be really innovations from that point of view. It's going to be a new age. We will have a look at.
For example, I know that there is a lot that is cooking in the IDBI kitchen in the last few days, and especially with that mega deployment of analytics there and mega deployment of data scientists there. I'm sure that there is something big cooking there, and with LIC also joining into the chef mode into that kitchen, there will be a lot more to announce or probably listen to from that perspective. Fantastic.
Yes.
I think WhatsApp is a way to go, and I am sure with analytics playing a mega role also into it. And people are today working at integrating the entire analytics engine not as a silo to a particular channel, but as an organization so that you derive the entire benefit of it. Fantastic. Murtuza, your bank has been also one of the fastest bullet trains when it comes to innovations. I think I have seen the branch manager on call, currency denominations as per your choice, and some such kind of innovations from your side. So, from your experience, which is one of the most memorable deployments that you have done, and what are you currently working on where you think that there is a interesting perspective?
Fortunately for me, I have been part of all the innovations from my account, my number, the choice of currency, social banking, fingerprint, voice banking, video branch. We are the first one. I am the part of all the innovation project, all the innovation project, and I enjoy it thoroughly. I still enjoy because some of them are still not done by anybody. My there's currency, my account, my number is still not replicated. I think hardly one or two banks did it. After we did it, after almost 7 to 8 years, still we are one time still enjoying that. Plus, we always be the frontliner when it comes to payment. Whenever when I still remember when NPCI was about to plan UPI. That time we were in the pilot, and we were one of the two banks who did the pilot on UPI. Same thing will go for BBPS, APS, and right now, yesterday we went live on on account aggregator. We are the first bank to went live yesterday. That was also I have done that. So I know from the innovation part, I'm doing this for you for the banks year on year, year on year.
Fantastic. And what is that challenge that you have seen during innovation? Any specific challenge that you have been working on today? Anything interesting you want to
So
share?
challenge, suppose like account integrator. I see. So for the account, aggregator page which went live yesterday, I faced the challenge where the lots of people are not aware of that. The business team, the assets team, the loan team will not be aware that how to utilize that because it's not been publicized where people just in an idea phase, right? And then you are leading that idea from technology side, and you are convincing the business side. That's the challenge which I face. But now all people know and they all know that this will be a next UPI in coming years. So now they all came together and they're pushing things hard.
Fantastic. Rajan, as a technologist, thanks Murtuza. I think that was a good, understanding of how you have been handling. And trust me, I have been handling this Finovity Awards for innovation by the banking and financial sector for last, I think, since 2012 we introduced. And I have been seeing some wonderful innovation from most of you guys, be it Jitendra, be it yourself, and from IDBI also, IDBI Intech as well. So I know one thing for sure that your bank has been quite innovative, and I could see those innovations springing up one by one. At least every quarter, you can see one very interesting innovation from your side. So that is a very good thing to look at. Rajan, from your side, as a technologist or a technology provider, what are the new things that are coming up in this area?
Biggest new innovation which is coming, right, to enable businesses to operate with agility and speed is on how do you really keep pace in terms of enabling the infrastructure and the infrastructure services at pace with the entire innovation that is happening on the application side, right? So the whole transformation which is happening from on-prem to hybrid cloud, the entire data and AI, the infusion of AI in various processes and technology solutions that you have within the business, making inherently the entire business as cognitive. I think that's where we see a lot of transformation happening in the space of technology, and where the technology is actually enabling business to act with speed and go to market with a value proposition to the client which is differentiated and valuable, which the client really enjoys. So as I said, right, the world of TikTok is really coming into space of retail and business, where it's a question of instant gratification and making that entire business value available to a client on a click of a button.
Do you see any new thing coming immediately in the future which can help you to accelerate the innovation in the near future?
Yes, I think it's good. This is a very important question. I would say we are launching one of the white paper. We have seen that it's a very important factor. Environment provisioning. Most of the client they have a requirement like they want to create an environment for one of the application. Let's say there is a change request, there is a defect coming up, and there is a UAT environment available. Now they want to create another UAT environment of the same application. What is today's challenge at the customer side? They have to first reach out to the op team, the infrastructure team. They will create a virtual machine. Then what about the assignment of the IP system, IP pools? Then you have to talk about the firewall system. Then they will get some set of firewall rules. It takes around a couple of days. They have to go to policy makers. They set up some policies, approvals. Then they go with the middleware team where they can install the middle layer, that they can install the database. They have to talk to a separate database team. So every department is working in silos, though they have automation in place, but that particular application environment request has to be deal with such a different stakeholders. Like they have to talk about the infrastructure, network team, database team, application team, and then they install the applications and reach out the latest patch of that application. It takes around 3 to 4 weeks, which is we observe, we do the assessment of multiple banks in India. Today, we have created one framework which talks about creating that entire application environment in few hours. Considering all the policy aspect, there are 2,000 to 2,300 SCD parameters, security policies, like this firewall has to be in that particular port, this IP pool as range already available. Then you talk about database size is already available, then database access is already available, approval is already in place. All these things is considered one framework. There are multiple technologies we use, and we created as application environment provisioning for few hours. This is the problem we solve. One of the bank, and maybe Rajan is aware about that. We may launch a white paper on that. I think this is one of the kind innovation first time in Indian banking system. I would always thanks to the Rajan's team and my own team, which works for around a year to build that automation framework piece, which is really solving the real problem of creating the data center. I would say that this bank is I cannot name of the bank, but the bank is creating the data center of using this solution. Because today, when you talk about creation of the application environment, you clone it typically, right? You ask the environment team, they create a virtual machine. You ask the application team, they install. It takes few weeks and few days. Now it's completely automated, and that's why we call it as a policy as a code. We call it as an infrastructure code, infrastructure as a code, and now it's a policy as a code. These two areas we solve in the automation framework.
Excellent. I think that's a very good way to end on what is the problem areas where the sector is looking at, and B, what are the kind of solutions to come. So, and we hope that there are some good marriages possible between both these things, so that we can see much more innovations coming. Today, every organization is definitely stressed with the kind of innovations that are coming in the competition, especially from the fintechs, from the other competitors in the market. And speed is necessarily one of the most important element. Agility, on the other hand, is, and third side is the security perspective. So you have got all the three monkeys of Gandhiji there, which you have to satisfy. So let us try to see how we can bring all this together and keep innovating ways, means, methods, and strategies in both technology and people to make sure that we blend this together. Great. I think we have had a wonderful conversation.